On today's episode, the Gomphus Dragon, the Halloween edition. So, Gomphus Dragon, a little different today. I'm going to change it up just a slight bit with the colors, but it's going to be your typical Gomphus. Start a nice base layer, thread. You're going to want that to hold all that material down. Find your typical deer hair, usually your natural color or olives, but we're changing it up today. We got some orange. Gonna do a pumpkin dragon. Usually for the first round of deer hair, I don't take a huge clump. It's easier to work with a smaller one, especially get around that hook. By the way, we are using a size 6 2XL. Nice heavy wire hook. Decent gap on it. So we're just going to spin this first tuft, which is always a pain because you got to get around that hook point. Get that tied in nice and tight. Get it nice and tight to itself. Bring your thread through it, right back up to the front. And we're going to repeat this process. Deer hair can be fun, but a pain to work with. It's always messy. Get that next stack right in front of the first one. Couple good wraps, get it around that shank. Give it a good squish. Butt it up against that first bundle nice and tight. Bring your thread through it. Right in front again. And repeat. So typically I do tie these by the dozen, and I will do them in a assembly line process. Typically I will spin all the bodies. Once I've got all those done, then I will trim them, then add my accessory step, as I like to call it, which is what makes my dragons last so long. We'll see that shortly. And always with deer hair, make sure you got a nice comb out all that under fur. Makes spinning it a lot easier. One more little clump should do. So now that we've got that, whip finisher off. It's nice and quick, get the thread out of the way. Typically for trimming, get yourself some double-edged razor blades. Gets the bulk off the fly, and then you can fine-tune it with your scissors. Keys. Now when you trim them, you want to have a nice tight belly, but not too tight you cut your thread. So just slowly work it. You can always take a little at a time, but you take too much, you can't put it back on. But you want a nice tight belly so you have a good hook gap. Don't want to crowd that hook point. Good enough. I'll just finish what I need to finish off with my scissors. It doesn't have to be perfect. Close enough. So now that we've got that point, what we're going to do is bring our thread back to right in front of that. Now this is what makes my style of Gomphus far superior to the ones that you buy in the stores. Ones in stores last 2, 3, 4 fish before they're destroyed, bodies falling apart. What I do on mine is I create a stronger body by adding a dubbing loop. And in this case, I am going to use a orange semi-seal dubbing. Typically I use a green, any olive blends, usually a typical, like a leech dubbing. Semi-seal's usually a staple in my desk here, so usually a natural deer hair body, olive dubbing, something that's a little longer fiber, a little bit of flash to it. Spin up your dubbing loop. What we're going to do is we're just going to figure eight it around the body. And what this is going to do is lock that body in to be nice and solid. And this fly will last you dozens of fish as long as you don't lose it. Now getting to that point, fishing these. I fish a straight, solid 10-pound line on a heavy sink, but straight mono, 10, 3 to 5 feet max. Lost a leg. I do not like to use a lighter tippet. I find with dragons, the fish hit them so hard as they're trying to crush that meal, get it down so it doesn't bite them on the way down. So they usually hit them really hard and violent, hence why I love fishing dragons. I fish dragons from ice off to ice on, They're in our waters all year round. It's fantastic food. And if you don't fish them, you really should. But if you're watching this, you do fish them. So next step in my accessory step is legs. I typically use, I probably say typically a lot in this video, don't I? I like rubber legs. They have just that more movement. You can use pheasant tail fibers, anything that you want to use. It's going to represent legs, but I like the rubber legs. So I just kind of pinch them onto the side, and I usually tie them in a little longer than what I need, so when I'm trimming the heads I don't accidentally cut a leg off, but it does happen. And then I pull them back on the other side, lock them in, adjust them so they're roughly on the sides. Build that thread base up for the head, and since we're on the Halloween theme, no pumpkin Gomphus is complete without an olive stem, or a head in this case. So we're going to grab some olive deer hair. Unfortunately, this has a lot of under fur. We'll get around that. We got a good comb. What's left of a good comb. So take that under fur out. It's just like before on the body. Build a couple solid clumps. That one didn't have all the under fur out, so it was kind of ugly, but we managed. We'll work with it. Remember, flies don't have to be perfect to catch fish. Trying to get your hair in the way. And there's not much left, so let's kill that patch of deer hair off. I just need a little bit more there. Now we have completed that step. Finish your fly off. And you're now done that step. So remember, I left my legs long so I can easily grab them. Usually at this point the hook does come out of the vise. I got my legs. Then what I'll do is I'll just start right along the sides. Get that bulk off away from the legs so I don't have to worry about them. now figure out your legs. You want them roughly to the end of the body. I have found if they are a little longer, you can have them loop your line in casting and you end up with a knot around the body. But if they are the equal length to the body or slight or shorter, you don't really have that issue as much. The odd time it does happen, but then from there, grab a piece of Velcro. Let's get some of that dubbing teased out. Let's pull your legs off to the sides. Make sure they're good. And there you go. There is your Halloween edition Gomphus dragon. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was clear enough you could figure out what we were doing there. And yeah, get tying. Let's see those dragons.